What's up, y'all? I'm Dan from Tiger Arcade, and today we take on the essence of the bird with the all-new Bird Spirits Eurorack utility module by the brand new company called Rayckwave. I'm stoked for this episode. It's been months in the making. I have partnered up with the all-new company, Rayckwave, and like I said before, I'm super stoked and honored to be presenting this product to you guys, to be the first to present it to you guys, and tell you all the cool things that this module can do. Had a lot of fun playing on it and discovering all the ins and outs of it. At first glance, it looks like, dual LFO and blender. And even then, that might be kind of an eyebrow raiser. What does that even mean, a blender, So we're going to take a deep dive into this and some different things that you can do with this multi-use Eurorack module and how it's more than meets the eye. So let's dive into that. All right, so we've got here the Bird Spirits. I have it housed in a Moog 60 HP Eurorack case. This unit itself is 20 HP. HP is just how they measure width in the Eurorack measurement world. And so HP just means horizontal pitch. Right here is an oscilloscope. It's going to be demonstrating the waveforms for us. The Bird Spirits has 2 LFOs, and each section you see has a little nice box that separates it so you can kind of understand what you're controlling and doing. There's these really useful LED lights. So the LFO has triangle and square, and those are the waveforms that you can send out. And here it shows you the frequency, how fast or slow it's going. It's a good way to kind of visualize what you're doing. That's this section up here. Let's focus on that first, okay? So let's get a sound going with the Mother 32. I'm going to turn it on a drone so that we can hear the LFO kind of modulating, really. So we'll take triangle out. This is a very, very simple patch. I'm going to plug it in somewhere so we can visualize. I'm going to put it into a mult, and then I'm going to plug in this guy, the oscilloscope, to visualize. And now bring it into that filter. So now you can actually visualize what's happening. So that's the most basic, okay? You have 1 LFO, awesome. 2, well, what can you do with 2 LFOs? I'm gonna show you. Let's take a look here. So let's patch triangle 1 out. You can visualize here with the white boxes for out, kind of just like on a Moog synthesizer, very helpful. We're going to now go down to this next section, the blenders. And really the blenders is crossfaders, but you can do so much more with it, and we'll get into that. So we're going to plug this into the in one. Oh, look at that. Now we're getting a signal for the LFO of LFO1. Let's take it a step further. Let's actually do square wave, and you can kind of see that difference in the LED light. Let's take triangle out on LFO2. Let's put it into this. So what we're doing right now is, if I kind of unplug these again, you have 3 blender out sections. These are your blenders, 1, 2, 3. So now I can control and crossfade 2 different signals. It's really, really cool. And I want us to visualize that. So I'm going to plug this in. We're going to take the blender 1 out and plug it right back in to that mult we were using so that we can visualize it. So this is really cool. We are crossfading 2 different signals right now, which is visible on this oscilloscope. We're blending like the blender section says, we're blending a square wave and a triangle wave and visualizing it, and it's going into the mother 32. And we're hearing that. And you can do some really cool things as we, twist this blender one way more towards that LFO, or twist it that way more towards that LFO. And really what it's doing is it's just twisting it more towards whatever signal you have plugged in, this top one or this bottom one. Okay, so that's just the first one right here, square. And then that's the second LFO, and then we can blend them. This is a really fun and unique way to really mix up and crossfade signals. And really the Bird Spirits is a great companion to the Mother 32, really. I mean, many other setups, but in particular for me, and kind of the inspiration behind this, is now we can crossfade signals, we can have more LFOs, we can get a lot more variety going to just really unlock the potential more of these synthesizers. So that's really what a blender can do. You can continue to blend more signals because, again, you have 3 blending knobs, so you can send a bunch in here, go between the 2, send in a bunch here, go between the 2, and then take it out of this 3rd, and then go between those 2. So you can really get some crazy stuff going on here. So now I want to modulate the signals, okay? LFO mod amount, okay? And you can see those, you can input into those signals. This one is the input for that. This is the input for there. And you can modulate or frequency modulate those signals. And, well, what's an applicable use for that? I think a great use is sending in a clock or some sort of a, gate signal. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you now, a part of the potential, because there's a lot of different uses you can do. This is one use that I like to do. So let's patch it up. And we'll twist this all the way to get it to its full potential. And now we'll just press play and we'll hear it being influenced. Let's now show it to you off and on. So now it's back to how it originally would be without any influence from an alternate signal coming into this. But this influences this LFO. And you can kind of visualize it here too a little bit with these helpful LED lights. Neat. This thing is also a mixer. And you might be like, say, what? A mixer? How is this thing possibly a mixer? I'm going to show you. This blender section is a mixer because it can switch between things. If we have nothing on one side, it's switching to nothing, really. Or on this side, switching to nothing. So it can be like a volume knob. Let's demonstrate that by taking the Mother 32 audio out. I'm going to actually remove it from my mixer, and we're going to take it out and bring it right in to this bad boy right here, okay? We're going to put it in here to the second, so that way when I turn it up, it's kind of like a volume knob. And now I'm going to take my subharmonicon, take it out of the mixer, and we'll plug it into this, using this as a mixer. And then you're going to want to hear those, that audio signal, plug it directly into my DAW so you can hear it. Okay, let's turn up the volume on the Mother 32. Now the subharmonicon. See that? And I can go to this side. It's kind of like a DJ mixer, where you go to one channel. This is now just focusing on the subharmonicon. And now it's just focusing on the Mother 32. So This thing's kind of like your own little Swiss Army knife where it can do all these different things. So keep that in mind. The blender is also a mixer. Now I want to show what else you can do with the LFOs. There's a few more cool things. So you have this really interesting section here for the frequency where it says it right here. And then it says low, high, and then ultra high. And you're going to be like, say what? Ultra high? What is going on here? And let's give a very easy demonstration. Take the triangle out, pop it into the Mother 32's cutoff, turn on that VCA mode. Now we'll go high. Check that out. Now we'll go to ultra high. Look at that. It's almost like a white noise. Or like a chip tune sounding almost. Cool stuff. So that's kind of this section, the frequency, where you can go to all those. What are some applicable uses with this, right? Like, well, what am I even going to do with that? I have found some cool uses actually with high, where you get an audible, because this is going to segue into my next part. These are oscillators, right? It's a low frequency oscillator. Well, what if you make it a high frequency oscillator? Well, then it really just becomes a triangle wave, you know, and you can do whatever you want. It's an oscillator. So let's demonstrate that. Let's hear it. We're going to take this to high. It's on triangle. Well, let's bring it up. You hear that? If I don't blow out my speakers here, I can see it peaking really bad here. So what if instead we brought it here, and like we were talking about before, we used this as the mixer? That would be awesome. Okay, so now we're using this as a mixer, and I can turn down that volume there. We can listen. Pretty neat. So yeah, you've got yourself two dual oscillators. You can create some cool drones with it. We could even try to drone right now. Let's get some dronage going. So if we take that out, we got two volumes, and we're gonna bring these both to high. Try square. Bring those volumes down. So it's really like your own you have two oscillators self-contained with a mixer built in. I mean, the possibilities with this thing just kind of keep unraveling as you use it more and more. You can even kind of control it with a sequencer, these oscillators, and I'll try to demonstrate that for you now while it's oscillating. The trick here is going to be to bring in a patch from or into the frequency modulation while you're at those. So let's get something audible here. We're going to take the sequencer out, plug it in. Yep, we're getting some interesting activity already. Sequencer out 2 of the subharmonicon into this. And if we press play, you guys get the idea. This thing can be controlled, with a sequencer, and you can have some fun. I mean, like I said, you have two oscillators, you got your own little mixer or crossfader here, and you plug it into the modulation. You can do a lot of cool stuff. A last very simple but obvious use which is kind of similar to the subharmonicon in a sense, is if you crossfade these LFOs on like a low frequency, you can start to get some really interesting rhythms as you trigger stuff. If we take triangle out, or let's do square, and then triangle out of the LFO2 into here. Now let's trigger some signals. We can get some really interesting stuff going on here if we take it out and put it in to another synthesizer's triggering or clock or gate, what have you. Could put it into the clock. We'll get very unusual responses and reactions here. See how we'll do that, and we can change these. And right now it's only playing one note because I'm just triggering. That's all I'm doing. I'm not controlling the oscillator's, pitch in any way. But these are just some applicable, simple uses you can do, with these synthesizers. There's so many different capabilities and options. You really just have to use your imagination. And I mean, you're going to discover a lot of interesting things that you can do with these, utilizing dual LFO and a blender. But that about sums it up for today on some really applicable uses and fun and interesting things that you can do with the Bird Spirits by Rayckwave. It's going to be sold for $100, available around January 2024. And I will leave a link so that you guys can get a hold of this module. Let me know if you have any questions. I think it's a very deep and profound module capable of a lot of different things. I hope you enjoyed this kind of presentation overview of the Bird Spirits. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we will catch y'all next time. Peace.